Hey guys, it's Sarah again, and I'm back with Top 5 Wednesday. Ooh, ooh. This week's topic is favorite books of the year so far. So coming in at number 5 is Dark Life by Cat Falls. I've already talked about Dark Life in like 2 other videos, so I'm just gonna leave a link to the book review that I did down below and you can take a look at that. But all you need to know about this book is that it takes place underwater. It's like a Wild West sci-fi dystopian adventure, and it's really good. It was just a lot of fun, and it was a quick read, and it was very different and unique. So yeah, I would suggest giving it a try. Coming in at number 4 is the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I really loved this series. It was written very beautifully. It's like an alternate world fantasy book, and I really enjoyed the magic system and the different plot elements. I think the biggest thing I liked about this book series was the Russian influences. It was alternate world, but Leigh Bardugo chose Russia to be what kind of influenced the characters' names and the places and the language and all that fun stuff. So I thought that was really cool and really fun and unique. I will say though, I didn't like Mal, which is unfortunate because he was the love interest of the main character Alina. I personally liked Nikolai Lansov, who was the prince, who was also kind of vying for Alina's attention a little bit, and I just really liked him a lot. He was really funny and he had all the best lines. I think that's something I really liked about this series. It did explore a lot of deeper themes like figuring out who you are and discovering your own potential, but it also had a lot of fun moments, a lot of fun one-liners, so that's a big reason why I would say that this series would be in my top books so far this year. And coming in at number 3 is the Infernal Devices trilogy by Cassandra Clare. Funny story about this series, I actually had never heard of it. I had never read The Mortal Instruments, I didn't really even know who Cassandra Clare was, and I was at the library, and mind you, for some reason my library didn't have the beautiful covers that I think most people are used to, like the holographic ones, but instead had this hideous cover. But somehow I was convinced by the 2 sentences on the back, and I still picked it up and brought it home. And I started reading it, and funnily enough, a few pages in, I was like, this really reminds me of that movie I saw with Lily Collins in it. So I did some Googling, and I discovered they are indeed related, and the Infernal Devices is a prequel to the Mortal Instruments. So funny. Honestly, that might be blasphemy on BookTube to say that I had never heard of the Mortal Instruments. So sorry. But now I'm well aware of Shadowhunters and everything that has to do with that world. And I just loved the characters so much. And there is a cliche love triangle in this book series, but I thought Cassandra Clare did it really well. And also Will Herondale. Coming in at number 1. And I know what you're about to say. You're about to say, Sarah, how did we jump to number 1 when we were just at number 3? Well, to be honest, I couldn't really find 5 separate books that I really liked this year so far, and so I am counting the 2 trilogies I read as making this into a top 5, because to be honest, each of those book series had 3 in them, making this actually be a top 9. So, loopholes, thanks. So I would say the top book that I read this year so far is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I adored this book. It was so good. I just loved that it was set in the 1920s in New York City, and it also was like a supernatural murder mystery. I love being scared when reading things. I love scary movies. I love all of that. And I honestly at night sometimes when I was reading this, I'd have to turn on a light because I was afraid of the murderer. Libba Bray really did her research about the 1920s. It has all the fun things that make up that era, like flappers and prohibition and speakeasies and all that jazz, including jazz. The characters were so diverse. There was one main character, but then there was a big cast of other characters, and all the characters were so fleshed out. I loved it, and I can't wait for the second book. Layer of Dreams comes out soon, and I am so excited to see it. I actually saw a booktuber on Instagram who got an early copy of it, and I was so jealous because I want to read it. And like I've said before, I get all my books from the library, so it might even take a minute before I get a copy. I might have to buy it. I might have to just literally put my financial circumstances aside and say, I need this book, and buy it anyway. that doesn't sound like the right thing to do. So I'm not recommending to anyone to be financially unwise. So that was my top 5 for this week. I know I didn't do a great job describing the books all the way through, but I recommend that you check any and all of these out. They're super great, and yeah. So let me know down below what your favorite books of the year are so far, as well as telling me if you've read any of the books that I've read, and that would be dandy. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.